Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris.
And I'm Sharaad Kuttan.
You're watching Consider This. We want to wish you Selamat Hari Raya today to everyone watching. And while it may be a rather subdued Raya this year, given that some parts of the country are under the movement control order, some form of it, but we thought tonight we'll try and get you in the festive mood and speak to two fashion leaders about their work, their lives, and what Aidilfitri celebrations mean to them. Joining us first on the show, we have Alia Bastamam. She's a fashion designer and winner of the 2017 Designer of the Year Award at Kuala Lumpur Fashion Week. Alia, welcome to the show. Selamat Hari Raya to you. How are you?
Hi, Selamat Hari Raya, Melissa.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Okay, so it's good for you to join us today. And we just wanted to find out a little bit more about how you've been coping. This is, again, second year of celebrating Raya during the time of a pandemic. And usually, Raya celebrations or Raya periods are really important to the fashion industry, designers like yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you've been coping during this period, particularly, not just personally, but also how your business has been dealing with it.
Well, COVID has definitely impacted our business and the whole industry, actually, entertainment industry, business, and fashion. So, actually, when it just happened last year, I felt like it's been very unfortunate for the smaller brands and also for my brand, especially the independent fashion brands like ourselves. So. We had to find ways to go around the situation, re-strategizing our business, business.
Trying to adapt to whatever the changes, that's been happening.
Yeah, so things like when the pandemic just happened last year, we had to shrink down the collection, we had to redesign some pieces that have been produced. Some pieces we had to keep to launch another time for another collection because we had to adapt to.
Right.
Yeah.
Alia, could you tell us a little bit about growing up? Because I think in many ways, we compare these festive seasons against our childhood memories, right? So our childhood memories of, whether it's Hari Raya, Christmas, I would celebrate, always seem so much brighter, so much more, fun. What is it like for you growing up, and what did these celebrations mean to you?
For me, it's all about spending time with the family. It's weird that I make the Raya collections and being so stylish, trying to tell people to be so stylish during Raya, but like I'm more of a baju kedah kind of girl when I go home. Baju kedah kind of girl when I go home. I do a lot of housework and do the dishes and.
This past year, because of the pandemic, those tastes have changed. I found that for me personally, my tastes have changed. Gone are my high heels, and I just want comfort. I just want anything that makes me feel good. Still dressing up, but comfort is first and foremost. And I'm wondering whether you've seen people's tastes change, given that a lot of us are now working from home. Raya is going to be spent at home rather than going out and open houses and all that. Was that something that you noticed and had to adapt to and change your design approach?
Yeah, definitely. Like globally, everyone's. Actually, the obvious shift is the trend. The trend in women's wear, in men's wear, everyone just wants to get into their comfortable clothes. The collections that the designers come up with are more neutral and zen and I don't know, like that kind of relaxed feel, loungewear,
Yeah, I must say, I would have thought that, because you want to break from the norm, right? So if you have a festive period, if you have a chance to dress up, that you would, I mean, yeah, we all like to lounge about in at least shorts for
Yeah.
boys, shorts or sarong at home. But when we go out and on a festive, why not, bling it up, or just to reaffirm life, right? I mean, I think that's what fashion does. It reaffirms the beauty of the human body. It reaffirms our social character, and the fact that we're often performing for each other, and we're bringing joy to each other by dressing up.
Yeah, always. I think for me, yes, at home, I like to be comfortable. I like to wear something that I can do a lot. But I always insist that dressing up and looking good really helps uplift the mood. For me, like nowadays, we need to find a reason to wear something nice to go out. So every time there's a reason for me to go out or to be around, like 4 or 5 friends even. I like to dress up a little bit more just because, nowadays we don't really get to do that so much.
Right, definitely. So Alia, coming back to Raya, and I wanted to ask you, because you said you like the baju kedah, the comfortable approach. Can I ask you, when you approach your designs, and even for your own personal taste, do you lean more towards traditional, or do you look at modern approaches to fashion?
Well, I like both. I like to do the traditional kedah or kurung cutting, but make it now. I like to do really soft, silky materials and play with the details, but just keep the cutting like super simple, super classic. Yeah. So I think
So
it's
a bit of both. A bit of both.
yeah, a bit of both. I think if you know Alia Bastamam and Alia B, both of our brands, we don't really do tight, fit, corseted, constricting cuttings. We're very, I like to say, uh, women friendly. I don't know, like women who move a lot and
Yes.
do a lot of things and
real women.
Right. Alia, can I ask you if there's much innovation in terms of material? Because today, I think the conversation is also shifting towards environmentally friendly materials, sustainability in fashion. Is there any of that happening both in your practice, but also in, among other Malaysian designers?
yeah, definitely. You can see now the fabric suppliers, they have options. They have a lot of new recycled material. Everyone's pushing for more viscose, rayon, and like more natural fibers. What else? Even sportswear. They have sustainable, recyclable um, sports bra and leggings, and yeah, we're definitely going towards that. And
Brilliant.
for me, Alia Bastamam, we've always been using natural fibers, silk, cotton, yeah.
So,
So
Alia, is it your 10th anniversary for the brand this year?
yes, it's our 10th year this year.
Right. And what's next for the brand? I mean, 10 years in the industry, you've seen it change, you've seen it evolve, you've gone through 2 years or a year plus now of the pandemic. So what's in the future? Are you thinking about going abroad, or is the Malaysia market still the space that you want to play in?
We're always trying to go abroad. 2 years ago, I think 2019, we went to Milan. We did a small show there. Yeah, right before the pandemic hit us.
Oh dear.
So yeah, like it was in the works for about a couple of years before that, since 2016, 17. We had some international celebrities wearing our clothes. We've hired some PR companies, and so it was all in the works, and then the pandemic hit. So I guess right now it's kind of it's not a reset button, but it's something that we have to try again. And yeah, and I think most importantly is to heal the industry first, um, before we can think
Right.
about going.
Are you seeing a little bit of the healing happening, Alia, at the moment?
Well, last year was everyone was a bit shocked. Um, we were lucky that my label Alia B, we just launched our website last year before the pandemic. 2 weeks before the MCO happened, actually. So
Wow.
we had a small show, and we thought no one would come, and everyone's a bit wary, and they don't know what's really happening. But we launched it. We had a small show, and we were very lucky because once we launched it, everyone could buy online. You know. Um, yeah. So, but like there are people who still physically love shopping physically, and that was what we were nervous about for Alia Bastamam, because it's a higher range. It's like the luxury price range.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess
Have you been able, Alia,
um,
to incorporate? Because I know that they're now using AI and various other technologies to really help the online shopping experience work for
yeah.
people, right? So that there's a better fit. Because I think fit is everything when it comes to fashion. And how would you do that online and so on and so forth, right? The level of sophistication. Is that being applied here?
Well, for my website, we provide not just a generic size guide. We measure every single piece of garment in each size, and we put the measurements there. So the clients at home, they can measure their bodies, and they can like even the width. We don't just take a generic size chart and just put it online. We every single dress has a different size chart.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and I think presence is very important. So I've been more hands on, and I've been more around when someone inquires about something, and I'll always okay to jump onto a phone call or a Skype session or whatever if it needs to be done. Um, yeah, so like we've done bridal consults on Skype. We've had the bride's sister measuring the bride online while I'm on the other side, telling her where to measure. Yeah, we've done that before. Yeah, so
Found a way to adapt, yeah, to using all kinds of technology. Alia, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really do appreciate your time, and Selamat Hari Raya to you. Hope
Selamat
you're
Hari
having a
Raya.
good one.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break here on Consider This, but more in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, with me Sharaad Kuttan, and thank you so much for spending your Hari Raya with us on the show. We're delighted now to introduce on the line now we have shoe designer Nelissa Hilman. Nelissa, thank you so much for joining us. Selamat Hari Raya to you. How's the first day of Raya going for you?
Selamat Hari Raya to you too, and thank you for having me. It's been tiring.
Has it been a quiet one? Because
Makan, a
this,
quiet one, but with the kids and all, it's still a quiet yet hectic day.
yes, like
So yeah,
almost like
I'm
all
here we are.
days with little children
That's
around.
true.
Nelisa, can you
So
tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, where you grew up and what Hari Raya was like, what is like for you growing up and Hari Raya?
Wow. I'm originally from KL. My mom is from Johor. My dad's Chinese, so we predominantly celebrate Raya at my mom's house. In my mom's kampung, which was in Muar. So Raya for me and for the rest of my cousins were really, really fun. You know, they were over 30 of us at home at one point. And now looking at, at what's happening, it's just me and my kids, and two other cousins. So it's just four of us,
Right. So,
and
so
yeah.
a very
For you.
small, quiet Raya celebration. Can I ask you about, because this is our second time dealing with a Raya during the time of a pandemic, and I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about how you've been dealing with that as a businesswoman. Because again, I mean, during Raya, Idul festive season, that's really a big time for designers like yourself. That's when you
Correct.
release
Yeah.
collections. Um, Now that we kind of know a little bit more about the situation, I think last year took everyone off guard, and we weren't quite sure how to,
Correct.
how to plan and how to think about the situation. But now that we know a little bit more about the situation we're in, what is this Raya 2021? What is that like specifically for the Nelissa Hilman brand?
So I think coming to last year, like you said, we were caught off guard. We didn't have a collections arrive on time, because production was stopped halfway. So
Mm.
they were no, we didn't launch any special collection. We had shoes, but they were just weren't in. And it was everything's up in the air. To be honest, it was full of anxiety, full of stress, not knowing what to expect. And the office was closed. Thankfully, we had our warehouse separated from our office, and were able to fulfill orders. It wasn't a Raya collection, nothing at all. It was just shoes that we already had online, and we were just selling those. And then so fast moving forward a few months later, we thought, okay, we still didn't know how to plan 2021 Royal Collection, to be honest. It took us a while to figure out, okay, what do customers want? What do I want as a brand? And that took a while. We were designing collections, and we went back and forth with sampling. We weren't sure that, customer wants something like this or like that. Eventually, we decided, to have a mini collection, put our orders, and have the collections in, to be delivered for Raya. But then
Maybe
again, with all the hiccups that we have, we're still launching them. We've not fully launched the entire collection. It's still, halfway. So we have more to go after Raya. So we're looking forward to that.
Melissa, could you help me understand the kind of production process? I mean, are the shoes well, obviously designed by you, but are they manufactured in Malaysia? Is it a kind of artisanal style workshop, or is it much more kind of on the assembly line end of
Okay, so
production?
basically, we've been proud that since we've launched, I think 10 years back, to be honest, I designed them myself, and then we used to have like a small team designing, but now I'm on my own with a few interns helping. So we have been working with a family-owned factory since we started. So they're very small, and they do how I put it. I would say it's artisanal, because they have like Sifu, who has been doing making shoes for maybe like 30 years. And I enjoy working with them. So we get to go down to factories only in Klang Valley, some of them, and we do have some in Ipoh as well, but we have not visited in over a year. So the ones that we can visit, we would work very closely. So I would design them, and then we would go a few rounds on sampling to decide whether the materials or the fit or the sizing is good or not. Once that gets done, I think from design to paper to designing and sampling would take about a couple of months, if not weeks. And then once we have the final sample and we put our orders in, that would take at least 90 days to turn around. So
Oh,
we have
wow.
to wait for materials from China to come in, the outsole, the midsole, everything to come in together before they could assembly the shoes. So it's a very long process for us, yeah.
Nelissa, you mentioned sourcing the material. I know that sustainability is very important to you, that you
Yep.
want to look at reducing waste through your brands, your products,
Collection.
reduce packaging and all that. Tell us a little bit about how is that difficult to do as a small, as trying to scale, because you want to make sure that you're
Sustainable in that
ecologically
sense, yeah.
responsible, but also sustainable. Yes, exactly.
So that has been sort of like so we had a year, right? During COVID, we wanted. I think okay, when we first started, I was pretty sure that I wanted to do things sustainably. So when we had leathers back then, we were using like stock leathers from Italy. So we had a supplier who is based in KL, and he approached us and sold us some leathers. Those are from like your luxury brand tanneries. But now looking, because also Malaysia is not known as a material producing country, so we don't have let's say TU or even pineapple leather. We don't have that yet here. So at this point in time, we're importing materials from China. As much as possible, we have our outsole. Outsoles are rubber, so they are made in a Malaysian-based factory, which is based in Klang, and we've sort of like met up with them, and they mentioned that the outsole is made of 10% reclaimed rubber. So we go to as deep as getting documentations, if we can, from our producers or suppliers, to have them certified, saying that if this is recycled, can you prove to me, or can you have some documentation to show that this is, recycled paper, for example? Or if the materials are, adhering to certain standards, can you show me a certification documentation where I can, look at it and say, okay, I can be more confident of our product and our values. So that's that.
And does it matter to consumers? Are they as conscious about the environmental impact of the goods they buy?
As a business owners, I want to feel, that I'm being honest. I'm honest. I'm truthful about what we're talking about, what we're selling. And as consumers, I think you have a small group that cares about the environment, right? And they would ask us now, is this? Are you sure this is recycled, or are you sure? They would ask us. So I, as a business owner, is responsible, and I take I take pride in knowing that we are doing all these efforts that we can.
Yeah.
To ensure that,
Nelissa, speaking about consumers, I wanted to ask you about consumer behavior and consumer tastes during this time of a pandemic. And I'm wondering, I'm just from personal experience, I've kept my heels locked away for several months now. I haven't touched them for about a year.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if people are Sharaad too, exactly. Have you noticed a change in consumer trends? Are people kind of adapting to this work from home comfort style? And are you adapting to that in your designs? More flats rather than heels and dress shoes. What are you seeing?
I think so this was a direction like we're like, okay, what should we do? Part of me wants to stay comfortable. We came out with a home sandals, a range of home sandals made of excess materials. We have that, and then, but our Raya collection, I think we wanted to run away from being too comfortable. I know being fashionable is being comfortable is important, but we wanted to ensure that when we release something, we want to ensure that it's not your everyday shoe. Right? You want to buy, buy something special.
It makes you feel good, right? Dressing
makes you
up
feel
a little
correct.
bit. Yes.
Yeah, correct. I think consumers are sort of like looking forward to go out. I myself have not worn heels for I think about a year, but we've been launching heels. So we launched the Petite Moi and Nelissa Hilman collaboration. We had like low heel. I think that sold within 30 minutes. We were surprised by the reaction, but it sold off. So we thought, okay, probably customer wants something special, something different that could, make them happy, so to speak. So yeah, we do have still sandals collection. I think our best seller have always been the sandals, but we do have heels, and we're seeing customers purchasing heels. We don't know where they're going, but yeah, it's a good sign.
They're wearing them at home, Nelissa, for Raya.
One of the things that is quite interesting is the way that maybe the half century or so, people have gone from buying shoes and having them custom made, and that might have been the kind of dominant way things were done, to everybody buying basically things off the rack. And squeezing or shoehorning their feet into whatever the company has provided. This return to more bespoke, customized footwear. I mean, is that something that you think Malaysians are moving towards? And will they be willing to pay the price of something like that?
Well, I think that depends. Interestingly, I think before mass Malaysian had mass brands, we were producing customized shoes. We were that's how the industry was. And then back in the 70s and the 80s, there were a lot of small businesses doing customized shoes, and they were based in maybe Ampang Park. And I think as soon as maybe one of the bigger brands came in, they started to industrialize shoemaking, and shoes became a lot cheaper, and that's how business grew. So more and more artisanal shoemakers then closed down because it was getting more expensive to own a customized shoes as opposed to just walking to the store and getting a pair. Asking for a trend, I think there might be a small population who would love customized shoes. For us as well, we have customers inquiring, I love your shoes so much. I have a lot of them, but can you consider making customized, for my wedding? Sadly, at this point in time, I'm not confident of doing customized shoes because when we first started, we did offer that, but I think there's a lot of points, or there's a lot of fit issues which I weren't able to sort back then.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that when you're paying a lot for a customized pair, you would want them to to fit nicely and perfectly without any issues.
Right.
As far as I took a stance of our shoes are not made for everyone. I have myself a 1 feet. I think that's how the brand started, and I wanted to make shoes for myself. So, and since then, every fit, every size, it would be based on my fit, so to speak.
Right. And I noticed that you also make sure that you measure every single shoe that you have. So you put down the measurements, and I think that's really interesting, particularly for now that a lot of people are moving to online shoe shopping, which requires the right fit and the right measurements. Nelissa, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Thank you for spending your Hari Raya with us. Selamat Hari Raya to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Selamat Hari Raya and have a good one. Have a safe one.
Thank you. That's all we have for you on this episode of Consider This. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melisa Idris.
And I'm Sharaad Kuttan, signing off for the evening.